Okay, today we're going to be talking about sequences of numbers, in particular, this idea of arithmetic sequences. I know that word looks like arithmetic, but if you're a fancy math nerd such as myself, you would call that an arithmetic sequence. So let's look at three vocab words. We'll do a couple practices, and then we'll jump straight into the Khan Academy problems. Uh, a sequence. In math, a sequence is an ordered list of numbers. So here's a few sequences, A, B, C, and D, and they're a list of numbers, and there's some sort of order about them. We'll talk more about what that order is in just a minute. An arithmetic sequence, I know that looks like the word arithmetic, but we call it arithmetic, is a sequence made by adding or subtracting the same number each time. Let's take a look at this first one. We're supposed to select all arithmetic sequences. So I'm thinking, how do I get from 11 to 15, from 15 to 19, and from 19 to 23? Well, it looks like I can add 4 each time to get from term to term. So an ordered list of numbers made by adding or subtracting the same number each time is an arithmetic sequence. An arithmetic sequence is the name of this Khan Academy game, so I would be choosing this one. Okay, one other vocabulary word is common difference, the number that is repeatedly added or subtracted to make an arithmetic sequence. So this will come up a little bit later, and we'll just talk about this as the common difference for right now. The common difference here would be +4. All right, so as we're doing this little practice, this is not actually part of the Khan Academy. This was in the article that Khan Academy had published for the Khan Academy of the same name. As I look at this, I think, how do I get from term to term? Is it arithmetic? So if I go from 0 to 1, I would add 1. But if I go from 1 to 3, I would add 2. And if I go from 3 to 6, I would add 3. Well, that's not the same number each time. So this is not an arithmetic sequence. It's definitely ordered, like I can figure out the pattern, +1, +2, +3, +4, but it's not arithmetic. The arithmetic has to have this idea of a common difference. It's got to be the exact same number each time. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, to get from 3 to 9, I could add 6. To get from 9 to 27, I can add 18. That's not the exact same thing each time. There is a different pattern here that I can see. I can also notice that if I were to multiply by 3 and then multiply by 3, then 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, 27 times 3 is 81. So there is a repeated multiplication, but that's not an arithmetic sequence. That sequence goes by a different name, and we'll look at that later, much later, much later. Okay, and this last one. It looks like I have 29 to 20 is a -9. 20 down to 11 is a -9. 11 down to 2 is a -9. So we have this addition or subtraction of the same number that is a common difference. So that would give us an arithmetic sequence. Okay, I'm using two vocab words here. Let's just make sure we know them. The number that is repeatedly added or subtracted is that common difference, right? And if we have that, then we know that we've got this thing that we're calling an arithmetic sequence. Okay, one other practice that comes from the article, and then we'll get into 4 Khan Academy practice problems. The first term of a sequence is 1. Which of the following patterns would make the sequence arithmetic? Okay, add 4 to the previous term. Yes, adding that 4 would give us an arithmetic sequence. Multiply the previous term by 4. No, multiplication doesn't work. Subtract 4 from the previous term. Yes, that would be fine. Divide the previous term by 4. No, all of these would create an ordered list of numbers, but only the two, A and C, would give us what's called an arithmetic sequence, a sequence made by adding and subtracting the same number each time. Okay, so we're going to get into 4 practice problems that are on this same Khan Academy Extend Arithmetic Sequences. Uh-oh, my big head's in the way again. There we go. All right, so what is the next term of the arithmetic sequence? So now we're just trying to figure out how I get from number to number. So it goes from -5 to -1 to 3 to 7 and to 11. And I am using this number line just to kind of visualize what this sequence looks like. Okay, what I normally tell students to do is just use subtraction. Subtraction is the easiest way. So if this is the first term and this is the second term, it's always take the second term and subtract the first term. Now, if you're not really good with mental math, you'd want to have a calculator nearby. -1 minus -5 is the same thing as adding the opposite, and -1 plus 5 is 4. So it looks like I am adding 4. If I come up here to my number line, I can also think about 1, 2, 3, 4 gets me there. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets me to the next term. So it looks like I can use a number line to visualize it. I could also use subtraction. Subtraction works from any 2 terms in the sequence. If I look at 7 minus 3, each time I use subtraction, I'm getting that same 4, that common difference. Okay, now on to the question. What is the next term? Well, if I'm going to add 4 repeatedly, then 11 plus 4 should give me 15. That would be the answer that Khan Academy is looking for. All right, what is the next term of the arithmetic sequence? From -3 to 0, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9. I can see either in this number line example or down here with some mental math or perhaps even some subtraction that I'm just going to need to add 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. So that's going to be my next one. I just figure out what the common difference is, and I add that to the last term that they give me. Okay, negatives. From -6 to -8, from -8 to -10, from -10 to -12, -12 to -14. So now we're going this way. And with the negative numbers, that can be a little bit tricky. So what am I doing? I'm losing 2 every time. So it looks like if I take away 2, I should get from term to term. Well, if I were to use this idea of subtraction, I take the second term, I subtract the first term. -8 minus -6. I should be able to get that common difference as well. Minus a negative is the same thing as adding the opposite. -8 plus 6 is -2. I'll try it one more time. I'll take these terms. We'll call this one the third term and this one the fourth term. We'll subtract the fourth term from the third term. -12 minus -10. Subtraction is the same thing as adding the opposite, -12 plus 10. And here I'm getting that common difference again. This is the number that is being added or subtracted every single time. So as I look at this, I think -2, -2, -2, -2, and -14 minus 2 more. -14 minus 2 is the same thing as adding the opposite. And so that should be a -16. Okay, I think we have one more. We have -7, -12, -17. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I lost 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I lost 5. Now I'm running out of room on my number line, so I'm going to go ahead and use my subtraction. -17 minus 5 more should give me my answer. Subtraction means add the opposite. -17 plus -5 is a -22. Okay, so hopefully you're developing this understanding that an arithmetic sequence means that we have to add or subtract the same number repeatedly. And we can find the next term in a sequence by figuring out what this common difference is and then applying it to this last term that they give us to give us the next term. Good luck.